Hey y'all, welcome back to my podcast. Thank you so much for being here. I gotta say, one, I feel like a engineer, an architect, a genius every time it's time for me to like set up all this podcast stuff because it is so many cords, y'all. And every time I successfully set up this mic and headphones and everything else that comes with it, I feel like a genius. So I just felt the need to mention that. I felt the need to let y'all know that I am a tech god, a tech genius when it comes to this stuff. Anyways, so I'm filming this on January 1st. So happy New Year, everyone. You're probably not getting it on January 1st, but happy New Year. I want to literally emphasize, I posted this on my Instagram. Please make sure to take time, stop, breathe, and thank God that you made it to another year, that we made it to another year despite everything that was thrown at us last year, the previous year. Jesus. God knows it was a lot. And I know it was a lot. This is how I know it was a lot, y'all. I know last year was a lot because I can't remember specific things. I feel like my mental blocked out a lot of stuff. Like in church yesterday, they had highlighted some like big achievements, whatever. And, as we're praising, they're like, think of everything that God has brought you through. I can't even like recall everything that happened this year, let alone everything God brought me through. Now, that just might be me because I, once again, have emphasized on this podcast that my memory is not the best, but I do think that it's a tell also of just how crazy 2023 was and how much he has brought me. I know he's brought me through so much emotionally, physically, mentally. He has brought me through so much, and there were so many blessings, there were so many trials, there were so many things that I had learned last year that I immensely want to thank God for, and also just bring me to a new year because a lot of people didn't make it. I hate to get down and dark, but a lot of people did not make it to this year. I know all of us know someone who did not make it this year. So just make sure before you go on being super productive and hitting the gym and doing all your resolutions and all these things, make sure to stop and thank God that you have seen 2024. But with all of that being said, Happy New Year. I hope you guys had great holidays. I had a great holidays being home. Currently home right now, which is why this setting is very different. If you keep up on the YouTube or if you keep up on my TikTok, then you know that I'm currently renovating my room and it's not done, but the walls are green and I love them so very much. But I don't have a space to film yet. So we're filming here. We're going to hope that this works well. So I wanted to talk about something that I think is the biggest thing that I went through last year. And I know I'm still going to have to go through it. And this is going to be a constant thing that we all have to go through. But I got a question in the DMs about Gabby. I am turning my life around, right? And I am or strengthening my relationship with God, and I don't have friends to show for it. How do I change the way I act around my friends? How am I not influenced around the group of people that I hang out with? Yada yada yada. Now let me tell y'all, this this one is, I could talk for hours about it, but I will tell y'all, just start off personally with what I had to go through. So, starting college, I met a friend group, great friend group or whatever, but they aren't serious about the Lord. They don't really care. And that's just that. We bond on other things. We all love clothes and we all, it's not like, oh, I don't like them. No, I love my friends. My friend group is quite literally amazing. I think I got really lucky, or not lucky, but God blessed me with friends that I could really count on, and friends that I really do care about. And it just so happened to be that they do not care about religion or God or anything like that. So it was hard, I would say, especially this last semester. This last semester is when I found my church home, which is, if you want to know kind of what that was like, I did just post a podcast episode about it, talk about how I was so on fire for God, and my new church home played a big part into it. And so during that time, that's when I really started to become uncomfortable. Not uncomfortable, how would you say it? It was just like I knew I was changing, and it was getting to the point where I couldn't like hide it. I couldn't like sugarcoat how much I was changing or how much God was evolving me. I could not sugarcoat it, and I could not fake it around people, and I could not put on a facade. I really couldn't. And it was getting to the point where I'm like, Lord, can you help? Because I don't know how I'm supposed to act around them. I don't know. I don't want to push them away, talking about God, and I don't want to um it was just all these things, insecurities. I just like, I don't want to feel like I'm forcing them into anything, but also I can't just sit around and not be who I am. And I stressed myself out about it for a long time, and I can still recall like the feeling I had in my body of just how stressed and overwhelmed I was, just carrying all these what ifs of what if they don't want to be my friend anymore, and what if they don't want to live with me anymore, because I do live with them. What if they don't care about me anymore? What if they think, I'm crazy? It was just a whole bunch of things going through my head that I'm like, what if, right? I'm trying to figure out it. I'm trying to figure out it. I'm trying to figure it out and like understand how I'm supposed to act around them. And so I brought it up actually to my girl devotional group. I have this girl devotional group that I meet with that attend my church. And I started going to prayer on Tuesday mornings. And then after prayer, they would have a girl devotional. And so the first one I went to, I was it w- I was so it was so heavy on my heart that I just brought it up. I was like, "Hey, this is what I'm dealing with. I am on fire for God, but I'm the only one in my, home that is, and I love the girls that I hang out with, but also they are living, different lives, and lives that I don't personally live, and things that I don't resonate with, I guess you would say." And they had mentioned, they first of all mentioned that they have all been through this, and that was relieving to start off, because it's like, I'm not the only one who's been through this. Everyone goes through this. And so if you are, just trust you are not the only one. And it's also not something you're only going to go through when you first cross over into Christianity and cross over into, building your relationship with God. I feel like this is something I'm just going to have to deal with for the rest of my life. And you might have to too. So they heavily emphasized that, and the pastor of the group, she also emphasized just how relatable the issue actually is. And then another woman spoke up, and she helped a lot. She said, I work around a lot of people that don't agree with my lifestyle, and I don't agree with theirs, and the best thing you can do is just live it. And I was like, live it? What do you mean live it? And she was like, forget about what you're going to say. When you're in a situation, when you're friends with a person who isn't Christian, doesn't resonate with God, doesn't care to, forget about what you want to say, because God will give you what to say and how to say it when it needs to be said. But forget about that. Live it. Live out your lifestyle. Live out how just live. Wake up in the morning and read your word, and don't hide it. Sit at your desk, sit on your bed, read your word. Wake up in the morning and do your prayer and your devotional. Walk through with your when you have your headphones on, listen to your Christian music. Do what you want to do. Like, if they're having conversations about stuff that you don't want to talk about, get up and leave. It's not rude. You're living the life. And at first I was like, okay, but they're not gonna see that. They're not gonna understand it. She's like, that's the point. It's gonna stick out. They're gonna be like, why is she not doing what I'm doing? Why is she doing something different? And at the end of the day, actions are better than words. And so that's why I wanted to title this episode "It's the Way You Act," because if you understand, you get it. You get it. Love that, man. But it's truly the way that you act. You can talk to a non-believer about God all that you want. You could talk in your ear all that you want, but if they have made up in their mind they're not going to listen, they're not going to listen. And the best thing to do is just live. Live the life. They're going to see it. And don't live it in the mindset of, "Oh, I'm going to do this so they can see me doing this." No. Focus on you and focus on your relationship with God, and I promise you, when the time comes, they're gonna start moving differently. And an thing that I hated at first, that actually proves that you are doing well in your relationship with God, is when they start getting uncomfortable with certain topics around you. And I think I talked about this in the episode before, but when they start to, you walk into the room and they get quiet, or they want to talk about something specific, but they know that they that you don't like that, so they wait, or they shut themselves up, or they wait until you leave. I hated it at first because I felt like I was left out of everything, and I'm like, just because I don't do it doesn't mean you have to secretly talk about it. But um it sucks to feel, at least it did for me, but now I understand it's how things are. It's how it has to be. That's actually a sign of respect. They respect what you believe, and they respect how you feel, and they respect the way that you live your life and your way of life, that they are going to retract when it comes to certain things. I'm not, y'all, I can't stress how much it like feels. Like, it sucked at first, but once I realized what was happening, um to say it got easier would sort of be a lie, because it still kind of affects me. It just kind of like, oh, it's one of those things. But it's a good sign. It's a really good sign. And I can't stress it, it's a really good sign that, you're setting these boundaries just with how you live, that they know not to act that way around you, or to say these words around you, or to talk about these things around you, or to do certain things around you. That's kind of the sucky part about it. Just depends on how you look at it, but it's really good. It is really good. But going back to it, people are going to hear what they want to hear, so you have to show them. They're going to listen. I've learned this being on TikTok. Um I made a joke. It was like, or it doesn't matter specifically what it is, but I learned this on TikTok. I had a video that blew up, and most of it was Christians agreeing with what I said, because it's very agreeable. It's something that a lot of Christians experience. And I had a few like comments where people felt so angry towards me, and I'm like, and they were stating why they were angry at me, and I'm like, I never said that though. Like, that never left my mouth. I never uttered that word, and I didn't mean that. And if I didn't say it, that means I didn't mean it. And you're saying I said this, and I did, like, those words didn't leave my mouth. And that's when I really learned that people hear what the mess they want to hear. That's it. People are going to hear what they want to hear. If they don't like what you said, they're going to make it up in their mind that they've heard this, and they're going to say that you said this, and that, when you're like arguing with people who don't care to listen with what you're saying, or when you're arguing with people who have their ears shut off, there's no point in arguing. You just have to show them. And I think that's what the important thing is about having um non-Christian friends. When you have friends that just don't live the lifestyle that you're living, talk is cheap. It's not going to do anything. You just have to show them. You have to show them, and the best way to show them is by just genuinely living your life to the fullest, with God in it, living your godly life, and then it will show. So you can show them in your productivity. You can show them with how productive you are. For a while before I came back home, I was getting up every morning, I was reading my word, and I was praying consistently. I was, you know shutting down negative conversations. Sometimes, that's something I truly did have to be delivered from, because it was so common with the people that I lived with to just like talk about people negative, just talk about anything that was negative. I'm like, we don't need to talk about this. After, self reflection, I would just be like, you know what? It's not important to me. I don't want to talk about it, really. Like, I don't care enough to talk about it. And just shutting those conversations down, or being like, hey, just like setting what your boundaries are. It is if everybody else, I said this in a podcast, my previous podcast, but if everybody else can live loudly the way that they want to live, and set boundaries the way they want to set boundaries, then you can set yours. It doesn't, there's no difference. And I know it's way easier said than done, because for some reason, um there's just always a distinctive hate for Christians and Christianity. We can talk about any other religion, and no one's going to disrespect it. But we've seen in the media, we've seen on TV, we've seen in movies just how disrespectful people are and hateful people are towards Christianity. And I mean, really, that just shows he's even realer than what anybody else expects. Because if there's a general, or if there's a cohesive hate for that, for Christianity, that just goes to show that, you know, he's alive, he's real, and he's here. And y'all are mad. That's all I can say. Y'all are mad. And so it's so much easier said than done to just be like, oh, live a Christian life. I understand. I completely understand. It is one of the hardest things to really honestly do. It is genuinely difficult. But it's so worth it. It's so worth it. Because when you get those questions of, you know what, Gabby, can you tell me about this? Or, you know what, Gabby, I'm actually interested in how you live. Guys, those are the best times of my life. And it's only happened a few times, but when it does, I'm like, oh my gosh. Or if somebody's going through something, they're like, you know what, Gabby, I know we don't talk, but I know you pray. So could you please pray for me? What? That's the best feeling ever. Because it's like, okay, everything I've been doing actually, just working hard and going through what I go through and just being on Jesus' side is actually worth it. It's worth it. So, like I said, it's easier said than done to just live. It's easier than done to just live the life, but it is the key to helping your friends. I think the best way to help your friends is to live a Christian life in front of them. Don't try to talk too much about it. Don't try to talk their ear off or try to call out everything that they're doing is wrong, because that is not our place, one. And two, it's not helpful. It's more destructive than helpful. Live, just live your Christian life. Live in God and live in him boldly, fully, and proudly. And I promise you, that is the most beneficial thing you could do when you have a friend group that is not on that wave, not on that, level. That's really just what I learned. And if I had to tie it to anything in the Bible, because I always want to always make sure y'all go home with something. In Matthew, just read Matthew. Matthew shocked me a couple weeks back, because I realized that when Jesus was just entering his, um era of blessings and really just walking this earth in his purpose, he would heal people and he would say, now go show everyone what I did. He didn't say go tell this person this, go tell this person that. It was, you're healed, now go show the people. And I think that it's a small, actually I don't think it's a small thing, I think it's a really important thing. He said go show them. Don't talk people's ear off. I feel like that's how you can tell the difference between someone who has a relationship and someone who's just in the religion, which is a touchy topic. So I'm not going to go too deep into it. But that's how you can tell when someone has a relationship with God and when someone's just in it for the religion. Because another touchy topic, people can be in the church but not of the church. And I do plan on doing an episode on this later this year, but a lot of people blame the reason why they don't follow Jesus and follow God and his word on church hurt. And while I do think that's just a common thing people like to throw around, I do believe people have been hurt by the church. But what they don't understand is that when you go into it, you're not supposed to go into it idolizing the people in the church. You're supposed to go into it with the mindset to build a relationship with the one over the church, which is Jesus, God. You're supposed to go into it trying to strengthen your relationship with him, not strengthen your relationship with your Bible study group or strengthen your relationship with your pastor or idolize everything that's happening in the church. That's physical, strictly physical. Is it helpful? Yes, it is amazing. And I think it's definitely needed. But there are going to be people in the church who are just in the church, who are not of it. Okay. And so, that is something I really do want to talk about, but not in this podcast. So you just have to watch the way that you act. Just live the life. Just live the life. And I promise you, it'll come to pass. It'll come to pass. Whether it's, they respect your boundaries, or it's they actually come and ask you about it, or shoot, best case scenario, your friends end up getting saved and, deciding to live the life with you, alongside of you. Either way, I think that's the best option. So if you have friends that aren't living the life, that aren't interested or don't care or not aware. um the best thing you can do is just live the life. And when they ask questions, answer, but don't try to make every conversation about God. And I that's what the main thing I was worried about, that I was talking about him too much. And what I realized is that if he's in your life, you're going to bring him up naturally. um but make sure it's natural. Make sure it's not, well, God said this, so this is why you should do this. No, let's calm down. Like, just make sure it's genuine, not natural, genuine. That's what I want to say. Make sure it's a genuine conversation, encounter. Make sure it's real. And just live. Just live. I think that's my goal for this year, is just to live. Whoever's watching is watching, whoever isn't. It's all in God's hands. I have no control over anything, anyone, any situation. It's not on me. It's on the Lord. So I'm just going to live to strengthen my relationship with him. I'm going to live to witness to other people just about how great and mighty he is. And those who follow will follow, and those who don't. And that's just that. You could be the one to plant the seed. You might never see the flower grow. You might never see it come to pass where it's full and flourishing of your friend being fully invested in God. You might never see that portion, but you could be the one that plants the seed. And that is just as important. That is actually maybe the most important part. And so you don't get discouraged, because it's going to look like, it really is going to look like, everything you're doing is, just for you. Like, no one's watching you, but trust, a seed is being planted. And whether it flourishes around you later on or not, up to God. But until then, planting that seed is up to you. That is all I have to say on It's the Way You Act. I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope you learned something, and I truly hope you guys have had a happy holidays. And if you need anything, please let me know. Please let me know. DM me. They're always open. And stay tuned for the next podcast. Remember, I love you. God loves you. Have a great morning, noon, or night. Bye.